Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time viewing our content. Please support us by giving us a like, share, and subscribing to the channel. Now let's get started. Today we will be discussing Anneliese Michel, the real-life inspiration for the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose, endured 67 exorcisms in the year leading up to her death. In the heart of Bavaria, in a small town of Klingenberg, a story so chilling was spun, it transcends time and space. The tale of Anneliese Michel is one that is soaked in dread and despair. The year was 1976, and the world was about to bear witness to an event that would forever be etched in the annals of the paranormal. Anneliese, a young German woman, was the unfortunate soul at the epicenter of this horror. A devout Catholic, she was known for her piety and devotion to her faith, but it was perhaps this very faith that would become the catalyst for the unimaginable ordeal she was to endure. Her parents, deeply religious themselves, were the central figures in her life. Their belief in the supernatural and the divine was unwavering, and it was under their guidance that Anneliese would tread the path she did. Then there were the priests, men of the cloth, who were to play a significant role in the unfolding of this tale. They were the ones who performed the countless exorcisms, fervently chanting prayers in the hope of driving out the evil that had taken hold of Anneliese. And let's not forget the doctors, the men of science, who were tasked with the impossible job of reconciling what they saw with what they knew. They were the ones who, despite their best efforts, could not save Anneliese from her fate. Together, these characters set the stage for a story that is as terrifying as it is tragic. A story of faith, fear, and a fight against an unseen enemy. A story that, despite its roots in the past, continues to resonate today. This is the tale of a young woman who, in her struggle against the dark forces, became a symbol of the eternal battle between good and evil. A tale that serves as a stark reminder of what can happen when belief and fear collide. This is the terrifying and tragic story of Anneliese Michel. Anneliese Michel was born in 1952 in the small Bavarian town of Klingenberg am Main, Germany. She was the third of 4 sisters, and from a young age, Anneliese was immersed in the devout Catholic faith of her family. The Michel family was deeply religious, attending Mass twice a week and praying the Rosary daily. Anneliese's childhood was, however, marred by the onset of severe health problems. At the tender age of 16, she experienced her first epileptic seizure. It was a terrifying event that marked the beginning of a long and distressing battle with illness. Soon after, Anneliese was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy, a neurological disorder that can cause seizures, loss of memory, and hallucinations. Her parents, desperate to help their daughter, sought medical assistance. Anneliese was prescribed a concoction of drugs intended to control her seizures, but instead of bringing relief, the treatment seemed only to exacerbate her condition. Anneliese began to experience hallucinations during her prayers, claiming to see demonic faces. These visions were just the beginning of a deepening nightmare. Anneliese's behavior started to become erratic and violent, a stark contrast to the kind, gentle girl she had once been. She suffered from depression and began to despise religious objects, a chilling development for such a devout Catholic. Despite the multitude of treatments she underwent, her health did not improve. Anneliese's seizures grew more frequent and her hallucinations more terrifying. And as her health deteriorated, so too did her faith. She began to believe she was damned and that she was being punished by God. The doctors were perplexed. They had tried everything within their medical knowledge to help Anneliese, but nothing seemed to work. Her condition was a medical mystery, one that could not be explained by science alone. But Anneliese's condition only seemed to worsen over time. This was a childhood not of innocent play and joyful discovery, but of sickness and shadows. A childhood that laid the groundwork for a life tragically cut short, and a story that continues to haunt us to this day. Anneliese's health issues soon took an ominous turn, with her experiencing hallucinations, hearing voices, and displaying an aversion to religious objects. A once vibrant young woman was now entrapped in a world of shadows and fear. The line between reality and nightmare blurred as Anneliese's symptoms intensified, causing her to believe she was under the influence of malevolent forces. Imagine a veil of darkness descending on your world. your senses betraying you, voices whispering dreadful things only you can hear. Anneliese didn't just imagine, she lived it. She reported seeing devilish faces during daily prayers, and she began to hear voices damning her to hell. A fervent Catholic, she was now repulsed by crucifixes, holy water, and the very sanctity of the church she once found solace in. Medical professionals were brought in, a parade of white coats and stethoscopes, each one more baffled than the last. They attempted to diagnose her condition, prescribing various medications, all to no avail. Her physical health deteriorated along with her mental state. She suffered from convulsions, self-harm, and even starvation, as she claimed the demons wouldn't let her eat. As the darkness deepened, Anneliese's family watched helplessly. They were devout Catholics, their faith a cornerstone of their lives. But now, it seemed like a cruel joke. Their daughter was suffering, tormented by unseen forces, and they were powerless. The medical community had failed them. They were desperate, lost in a sea of despair. In their desperation, they turned to the one place they believed could offer them hope. They reached out to the church, firmly believing that their daughter was not merely sick, but possessed. They were convinced that it was not a battle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Desperate for help, Anneliese's family turned to the church. They were at the end of their rope, hoping against hope that a spiritual intervention could save their beloved Anneliese from the terrifying ordeal she was going through. In 1975, 2 priests were granted permission by the Bishop of Würzburg to perform the Great Exorcism on Anneliese. With this official sanction, a series of chilling rituals began that would mark a turning point in Anneliese's tragic tale. The exorcisms followed the Ritual Romanum, a centuries-old manual for conducting exorcisms. The priests would begin by invoking the power of God, then command the demonic entities to leave Anneliese's body. The room where the rituals took place was filled with prayer, holy water, and the solemn intonations of the priests. Anneliese's reactions during these exorcisms were terrifying. She would scream, thrash, and speak in voices that were not her own. Her strength seemed to multiply, and she exhibited a violent aversion to sacred objects. Her family watched in horror, praying for an end to her torment. Throughout the sessions, the priests identified several demons supposedly possessing Anneliese. These included notorious figures from history and biblical lore, such as Judas Iscariot, Nero, Cain, and even Lucifer himself. Each one was called out, confronted, and commanded to leave Anneliese's body. These exorcisms were not quiet, solemn affairs. They were violent, chaotic, and deeply disturbing, a testament to the terrifying reality of what Anneliese was experiencing. The priests and her family bore witness to this torment, their faith tested with each passing session. Yet, despite the priests' efforts and the intense religious rites, Anneliese's condition did not improve. In fact, it seemed to worsen. Her health deteriorated rapidly as she refused to eat, claiming that the demons wouldn't allow it. She became weaker, her body wasting away as the exorcisms continued. The rites, intended to free Anneliese from her demonic captors, seemed to only intensify her suffering. The demons, if they were indeed present, clung on with a malicious tenacity, defying the power of the church to cast them out. Anneliese's ordeal was far from over, her tormentors unwilling to release their grip. But the exorcisms only seemed to intensify Anneliese's suffering. This was a tragic case where faith, fear, and desperation collided, creating a chilling tapestry of horror that would forever be remembered in the annals of the paranormal. Over the course of 10 months, Anneliese Michel underwent 67 exorcisms, each lasting up to 4 hours. Imagine that for a moment. The clock ticks relentlessly, each minute an eternity, each hour a lifetime. For Anneliese, this was a year of torment, a year of agony, a year of darkness. For 10 grueling months, the young woman was subjected to the relentless onslaught of exorcism rituals. 67 times, she was plunged into the maelstrom of spiritual warfare, her body and mind pushed to the breaking point and beyond. As the exorcisms progressed, Anneliese's health took a dire turn. Once a vibrant young woman, she became a shadow of her former self, her body wasting away as if eaten by an invisible enemy. Her mental state, too, deteriorated. She was often confused, disoriented, lost in a world that seemed to twist and turn with the whims of the demonic entities she believed inhabited her. Yet, through it all, Anneliese's faith remained unshaken. She believed in the process, believed in the power of her faith to deliver her from the clutches of the demonic. Her family, too, clung to this belief. They stood by her side, their unwavering faith a testament to their love for their daughter, their conviction that the torment she was enduring was a necessary evil on the path to her salvation. But as the months wore on, Anneliese's condition worsened. The light in her eyes began to fade, her strength ebbed away. Her spirit, once so vibrant and full of life, seemed to wither and shrink. The exorcisms, rather than providing relief, seemed to be pushing her further into the abyss. The year of torment drew to a close, not with a triumphant victory over the forces of darkness, but with a somber, chilling reality. Anneliese Michel, the young woman who had endured so much in her quest for deliverance, was fading away. Despite the numerous exorcisms, Anneliese's condition worsened, leading to her tragic end. In July 1976, Anneliese Michel died in her home from malnutrition and dehydration. The tragic end of Anneliese's life was a grim testament to a year filled with torment and despair. The frail figure that once was a vibrant young woman now weighed a mere 68 pounds. Her body, ravaged by self-inflicted wounds, bore the physical marks of her psychological warfare. The circumstances surrounding Anneliese's death were as shocking as they were heartbreaking. Her parents, deeply religious and convinced of their daughter's demonic possession, saw her death as a release. In their eyes, Anneliese was finally free from the clutches of the demons that had tormented her. The months of exorcisms, the relentless suffering, they believed it was all over. Their daughter was at peace. Yet the world outside the Michel household was far from understanding. How could a young woman, in her prime, full of life and potential, wither away to such a state? The questions began to circulate. The whispers grew louder, and the world collectively recoiled at the harsh reality of Anneliese's demise. The tragic death of Anneliese Michel was not just a loss of life. It was a stark reminder of the power of belief, the blurred lines between religion and superstition, and the devastating impact of untreated mental illness. Her story serves as a chilling testament to the potential dangers of faith unchecked by reason. It's a tale that forces us to question our understanding of the world, the unseen and the unexplained. In her death, Anneliese became a symbol of a horrifying ordeal that remains a mystery to many. Her life was cut short, her dreams unfulfilled, her existence reduced to a cautionary tale. The world watched, aghast, as the details of her ordeal came to light. The tale of Anneliese Michel was no longer just a personal tragedy, it was a global horror story. The world was left stunned by the horrific death of this 23-year-old woman. Anneliese Michel's story is one that continues to haunt the collective consciousness, a chilling reminder of a life lost too soon. The shocking death of Anneliese Michel led to a sensational trial that captivated the world. The courtroom was a battleground where the tangible reality of law clashed with the intangible realm of faith. Anneliese's parents, Joseph and Anna Michel, along with the two priests, Ernst Alt and Arnold Renz, were put on trial for negligent homicide. The prosecution presented a chilling narrative painting a picture of a young woman tortured not by demonic entities, but by the very people who were supposed to protect her. Medical experts testified that Anneliese died from starvation and dehydration, conditions that could have been easily prevented. They argued that Anneliese's symptoms were consistent with mental illness, not demonic possession. The defense, however, had a different story to tell. They argued that the four defendants genuinely believed Anneliese was possessed, and that they did what they thought best for her. They presented audio recordings of the exorcisms, hoping to convince the jury of the supernatural nature of Anneliese's afflictions. Yet, when the dust settled, the court sided with the prosecution. Joseph and Anna Michel, as well as the two priests, were found guilty of negligent homicide. They were sentenced to 6 months in jail, suspended with 3 years of probation. The verdict sent shockwaves through the global Catholic community. The aftermath of the trial left a lasting impact on the Catholic Church's stance on exorcism. The Church had to grapple with the reality of the trial's outcome, leading to more stringent guidelines for determining demonic possession and performing exorcisms. The church sought to ensure that such a tragedy would never happen again. The tragic case of Anneliese Michel continues to haunt and intrigue people to this day. Her story, entwined with threads of faith, fear, and the fragility of human life, serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences when the lines between spiritual belief and medical reality blur. It's a tale that, like the echoes of Anneliese's haunting exorcism tapes, refuses to fade into silence. Anneliese Michel's story has been immortalized in books, documentaries, and films. Her tragic tale has been woven into the very fabric of popular culture, serving as a chilling testament to the inexplicable mysteries of the human mind and spirit. One of the most notable portrayals of Anneliese's life is the film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The film, while a dramatized account, echoes Anneliese's heart-rending struggle, capturing the essence of her torment. Yet it also raises questions about the nature of her affliction. Was it truly a demonic possession or simply a misunderstood mental illness? Anneliese's story has sparked ongoing debates around the world, fueling discussions on the intersection of faith, science, and the law. Her case has become a yardstick against which issues of religious freedom and medical intervention are measured. It's a narrative that's been dissected and analyzed by theologians, psychologists, and legal experts, each offering different perspectives on the tragic events that unfolded. Some view Anneliese's story as a cautionary tale about the dangers of religious extremism. They argue that her death could have been prevented with proper medical treatment and that her exorcisms were nothing more than acts of fanaticism. For them, Anneliese's life is a testament to the perils of blurring the lines between faith and fanaticism. Others, however, see her as a martyr, a young woman who sacrificed herself in a battle against demonic forces. They believe that her exorcisms were not acts of fanaticism, but of faith, a testament to the power of belief and the spiritual realm. Regardless of the stance one takes, Anneliese's story continues to captivate and intrigue, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. It's a tale that has transcended the boundaries of time and place, reaching out from the pages of history to touch the hearts and minds of people across the globe. Anneliese Michel's story serves as a chilling reminder of the fine line between faith and fanaticism. Her legacy, whether viewed as a tale of religious fervor gone awry or a testament to the enduring power of faith, continues to echo through the corridors of time. The tragic case of Anneliese Michel leaves us with more questions than answers. We've journeyed through her troubled childhood, her descent into what was perceived as possession, the harrowing year of exorcisms, her untimely death, and the fiery aftermath. Yet we're left standing at the precipice of uncertainty, staring into the abyss of the unknown. Anneliese's story isn't just a tale of a young woman succumbing to a chilling fate, it's a narrative that stirs up broader conversations. It challenges us to scrutinize the intersection of mental health and religion, the blurred lines that often exist between them, and how we navigate these convoluted paths. Mental health in the context of Anneliese's case was a labyrinth of misdiagnoses and failed treatments. Her story urges us to delve deeper, to question, to understand the complexities of the human mind better. It's a stark reminder that mental health is not a black and white issue, but a spectrum of shades that demands our attention and empathy. Religion, too, plays a significant role. Anneliese's narrative brings to the forefront the role faith can play in interpreting and dealing with mental health issues. It brings into question the practices of exorcism and how they can sometimes overshadow the need for medical intervention. It's a delicate balance, a dance between belief and science that we're still trying to perfect. The tragic case of Anneliese Michel also sparked debates around personal autonomy, the power of conviction, and the lengths one might go to uphold their beliefs. It's a testament to the power of faith, but also a cautionary tale of its potential dangers. In the end, Anneliese's story is a complex tapestry of fear, faith, and fallibility. It's a chilling reminder of our own mortality, the fragility of the human mind, and the profound impact our beliefs can have on our lives. The story of Anneliese Michel will continue to chill us, reminding us of the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places.